crypto warriors, changing our world day by day. The way of the crypto warriors, can't rely on the bankers, no way.
Good morning, Bix Weir, Road To Ruda.com with your morning horn of Z's, your sip of chaga coffee, and we got some stuff going on around the world. Silver, we're approaching 22222. Goodbye, Queen of England, if you ask me. All right, latest news. I got some amazing silver stuff I want to show everybody. And I know all you silver folks out there, you're like, Bix, when's it going to happen? I've been wondering that for over 20 years. But we have never been so close. We have never exposed so much. And the government has never had a weaker hand. We know who's doing it. We know why. We know how. The CFTC, the governing body of the silver market, apparently doesn't know how to do this. But that's a lie. They're in cahoots. But let's first talk about why. Why invest in silver? Why invest in gold? Why invest in cryptocurrencies? What's wrong with the old system? Here we go. Canada moves to make asset freezing under Emergencies Act permanent. Are you fucking kidding me? Canada has moved to make the asset freezing part of its Emergency Act, which was used to target supporters of the Freedom Convoy protests, a permanent fixture. Everybody in Canada who worked their whole lives saving, they have a nest egg, say $60,000, $70,000 that they saved their entire life for their retirement. And they are going to contribute, or did contribute, $100 to help these people who were freezing out in the cold fight for their country's liberty. Now has a government that's going to steal their retirement asset. It's going to cut off their credit cards. They're going to cut off their bank accounts, their checking accounts, their savings accounts. This is insanity at its best, and that is exactly why I scream, keep your assets in your own possession. We are being controlled by tyrannical criminals, sociopaths. I cannot stress this enough. Now is the time to have your assets in your own possession. Everything else you will lose. You will lose because they will take it. If they can, they will. And get yourself some guns when they try to knock on your door. That's, what is it? The tree of liberty has to be renewed by the blood of patriots. Was that Thomas Jefferson who said that? That's where we are. It doesn't have to go that way, but that's where these guys, these trapped criminals, they know that if they lose, they're gone. They're in jail. They'll be tried for treason. They'll be tried for all these criminal acts, pedophilia, you name it, they will be tried for it. So they are going to do everything they can to destroy you, your family, your friends, and your country. Now is the time to fight. Who saw that coming? In order to stop what the Trudeau regime refers to as illegal blockades, the government threatened to freeze the bank accounts of demonstrators and anyone who donated money to them. Under the Emergencies Act, banks are required to freeze accounts without a court order, while all crowdfunding platforms and payment providers are mandated to provide information to FINRAC, the Financial Transaction Reports Analysis Center of Canada. Deputy Prime Minister Christina Freeland, she laughed when she talked about this, by the way, announced that many of the measures imposed temporarily to deal with the protesters after they had been suitably demonized as violent extremists will now become permanent. This is insane. Let's listen to what she had to say.
In terms of the financial instruments which our government is using right now to act against these illegal blockades and illegal occupation, we reviewed very, very carefully the tools at the disposal of the federal government. And we used all the tools that we had prior to the invocation of the Emergencies Act, and we determined that we needed some additional tools.
You're a tool already. These are the kind of people, these are the human beings, kind of, that can steal everything you did your whole life. They could just take it. A political hack who's never earned a penny outside of government work, most likely, other than maybe teaching at a university, is going to go in and take your entire life savings and cut you out of the financial system. This is why we need gold and silver. This is especially why we need cryptos outside of the government's reach. Governments will not be deciding our future anymore. This is the kind of thing that makes us throw away governments. Like I've been saying, the people who are in power now won't be the deciders. The guys that the SEC, the CFTC, the U.S. government, these are the kind of people that will not be the deciders of our future. Let's see what else she has to say.
Now, some of those tools, we will be putting forward measures to put those tools permanently in place.
Whoa, there you go. Permanently. Imagine being permanently shut out of doing any financial transaction through electronic means. If you go through a bank, through a retirement fund, you're not allowed. That's been frozen and you're kicked out. That's the kind of power that unbacked fiat money has. That's the kind of power that these central banking entities have. That's the kind of power these government hacks have. They have the power to starve you out. And we gave them that power. We need to take it back, and we need to take it back now. I want to show you something in silver. If you want freedom, get your silver. It does two things. One, it secures your future, your financial future. But number two, it kills the people she's talking about, the banksters, the criminals that control the system. They have to go massively short silver to control the price of silver for going into the thousands of dollars. People ask me, Bix, who cares if silver goes into the thousands of dollars? The problem is the banks are short silver. When you put a short on anything, you have unlimited losses. When you put a long on, you can lose your whole investment. When you put a short on, you can lose 1,000 times your whole investment, 1,000 times your whole net worth. That's the kind of fire a short brings to the table. Unlimited losses. If silver went to $10,000 an ounce tomorrow, all the big banks would be gone and everything would be gone in the financial system. That's why they have to keep it down. That's why it's such a big deal. And that's where we're headed. And everybody knows it. You don't think Putin's sitting there saying, just laughing at us, saying, hey, go ahead, put any kind of sanctions you want. I'll just go out and buy, say, $10 billion worth of silver, maybe $100 billion worth of silver, and see what happens to the United States of America financial institution. That's where these criminals got us. Guys like Rustam Benham, Jeffrey Christian, Jamie Dimon, Blythe Masters, and now Brian Moynihan. Brian Moynihan, the Bank of America idiot who tried the same game they tried in the early 2000s. Hey, the pandemic's going on. We're running out of money. How are we going to get cheap money? Let's borrow silver. We'll sell it into the market. We'll take that. We'll leverage it 10 to 1. So he borrowed a hell of a lot of silver. He sold it for $20 billion and turned that $20 billion into $200 billion, basically at a lease price that was almost nothing. And now he made a mistake. He's got to pay it back. He didn't pay it back fast enough. How do we know this? How do we know this? Well, first of all, there's only two entities buying and selling, delivering physical silver now in the whole world. Two entities. One is JP Morgan Customers, which is basically JP Morgan. They can put it in whatever shell customer they want. They can have whatever side agreement we want. They know what it is. In their house account, they're not allowed to trade because of the fine of $920 million. This is the number one most criminal bank in the world. And the number two, Bank of America. There they are right there in December delivering 25 million ounces of silver. Why is it too big to fail bank even in precious metals for their house account? See the H? That's their house account. This is Brian Moynihan. Jenny Moonstone and I did a deep dive into his mind and what's going on. Holy shit. Go check that out on the private road at the Road To Ruda. But I'm going to show you. Here's what Ted Butler was all up in arms about and Road To Ruda was all up in arms about. This is the OCC derivative market. OCC doesn't even count what's going on in the comics. Outside the comics, these are leases. Bank of America had a total at the end of the third quarter. Now, this is important. So listen, The end of the third quarter, Bank of America had $18 billion worth of leases on the books of physical silver. The majority of it is physical silver. 18 billion. They didn't have anything 18 months ago. Nothing. They added 18 billion, equivalent of 800 million ounces of leased silver. Why? Because they're idiots? Maybe. Because they needed the money? Probably. I mean, 18 billion in silver at the rate they did it at, they got $20 billion in their hands. And as a bank, they leveraged it 10 to 1. That's $200 billion they got to play with during COVID. The problem is, and Jenny pointed this out, that Brian Moynihan, he didn't close it out fast enough. And now he's screwed because there isn't the physical silver to pay it back. He's screwed. And what are other banks doing? What are the other criminal silver shorts doing? Look at the OCC data right here. From the second quarter to the third quarter, it went down 8 billion. Down. You see that? It went down. Even though JP Morgan added 8 billion. So that's a $16 billion swing. It should have gone up. If all the other silver shorts were staying right where they were, it should have gone up by 8 billion because JP Morgan added those shorts. Actually, it should have doubled that because Bank of America added the shorts. JP Morgan are the ones that leased it to it, so that goes to theirs. And theirs has been rising as well. Let's take a look at where it was in the second quarter. Look at that. The Bank of America had 10 billion, and in the third quarter they had 18 billion. So they added 330 million ounces of silver shorts. Bank of America was at 38, which is massive. How'd they get out of that? And down to 27. These are shell games. That's all I can say. These are shell games. Who got out of their problem? It looks like JP Morgan is getting out from 38 down to 27. 38 down to 27 for JP Morgan. And basically Bank of America has taken over that crazy short position. The silver short hot potato has killed more financial entity than you would even imagine. Drexel Burnham. Now, this is all from Ted Butler. He's been following this so close. Drexel Burnham, AIG almost died. The entire gigantic insurance company. They were writing insurance on silver derivatives. They almost went down. They had the silver short. We all know what happened to Bear Stearns, who took it over after AIG. And then JP Morgan was on the brink of collapse, the largest bank in the world. They were being charged with RICO charges from the Trump administration because Jamie Dimon was trying to destroy the economy with the repo market. It was, yes, Jamie Dimon did that, tried to destroy the economy to get Trump out. And Trump basically said, screw you, I'm going to charge you with RICO charges and destroy the biggest bank in the world. That's how close that was. This is a massive game, and they control it. You take out the banking cabal, we gain our freedom. It will be ugly. So this is why it went from 72 billion down to 64 billion. 8 billion. This is a shell game. And right now, the hot potatoes sitting at Bank of America, Brian Moynihan didn't, he thought it was free money. Leasing Silver, they charge you like 0% interest. Why does anybody in their right mind give me one justification for any leases of silver? There is none. Jeffrey Christian will try to invent something stupid, but it is so many banks and mines and financial institutions got screwed by the leasing in the early 2000s. Head of all that was Barrick Gold, which Barrick Gold was a gold launderer for your Yamashita's gold. The Bushes were in on it. The Kissingers were in on it. This is the world we live in. This is what we have to fight. The largest names in the world, the largest entities in the world, the largest governments in the world, and the largest banks in the world. The largest royal families in the world. Tomorrow's 2/2/22/2. In England, that's a palindrome because they put the month first. So it's 2/2/2/0/2/2/2, whatever. It's a palindrome. But it's also all kinds of spiritual alignments. I don't leave out the spiritual side of things. I don't leave out the psychics and the remote viewers. I add them into everything on the Road to Ruda. You have to add them into everything because it all matters. Sometimes I lean too much on one way or the other. I used to lean too much on the numbers and the tech trading and all this, and until I discovered it was all a lie. It was a total and complete lie. Every exchange is rigged 100%, even all the crypto exchanges. They can put everything to minus $40. That's when oil went to minus $40, it didn't surprise me at all. That's a click of a mouse at the Fed. Who invented those computer programs? Alan Greenspan and John Kemeny back in the 1960s. If you don't know what I'm talking about, or even if you do, I have added something to the Road to Ruda website. Go to roadtoruda.com. This is the website. Go check out the Cliff High discussion. But down below, there's 2 videos you need to watch. Oops, that's the private road. Let me go to the public road. So there's the Cliff High video. There's 2 videos you need to watch. What is the Road to Ruda theory? It shows what the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston. What is the Road to Ruda? What a stupid name. Is that Road to Ruda? Are we going to plunge the toilet? No. The Road to Ruda is a series of comic books. There was 3 of them. Wishes and Rainbows, which was written in 1981 about the necessity of a gold standard, written by the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston. The necessity of a gold standard. And then re-released and updated on January 1st, 2007. I was there at the Fed Boston website that day. I don't know why or how. That's why I believe in the spiritual stuff. Shit like that happens. But I was there. Go watch that video I did explaining what the Road to Ruda theory is, explaining who invented electronic money, explaining how we haven't had free markets since the invention of computers and derivatives. Every trade you see on the stock market, the bond market, the foreign exchange market, the oil market, the commodity markets, the crypto markets is rigged. And whoever has the largest computer and the access to infinity money, Federal Reserve and the Exchange Stabilization Fund, infinity money. They don't even keep track of it anymore. And how many derivatives, which is every single trade you see on an exchange, the Dow, the stock market, the bond market, all of it, the comics, those are all derivative trades. Is there anything stopping the Federal Reserve and the Exchange Stabilization Fund from writing as many derivatives as they want? No. Is there anything stopping the Fed from printing as much money as they want and not telling anybody? No. That's what the world is discovering. That's what Ruda wrote in the sand in the first comic book. A formula called On the Road to the Golden Age, where you print money to infinity if you want to go back to a gold standard. And that's what the U.S. is doing. Go check that out. But look at right under it. I've just added this. It's an old analysis I did of the teacher's guide. It came with a teacher's guide, for Christ's sake. People say, Bix, you're reading too much into that comic book. Well, then look at the teacher's guide. There's 60 unanswered questions. 60 unanswered questions. Go look at this. I did a full analysis back when I used to write instead of do YouTube. There's 60 unanswered questions that are just so important to what we're doing today. What does the new distribution system, how are they going to redistribute money? All you quantum financial system people and all you XRP people are going to love this because the Fed doesn't even know what's going on. Go check out those questions. And listen, the last one's the biggest. Now, Pebbleton is the United States of America, and it's explained in that first video. But question number 8, the mayor of Pebbleton, basically the president, announces that the colored flowers are so rare and valuable, that's silver and gold, as money, they are going to be used as money with petals for change. Is this a good idea? What quantities does a good form of money have? Why? Which of these quantities do flowers have, and which do they like? What would happen to Pebbleton's economy if someone then discovered a new sunlit cave with thousands of flowers growing in it? That is the gold in the Grand Canyon or the gold at Chocolate Mountain. Should someone control the growth of these flowers and who? There's 60 questions in the teacher's guide that go unanswered. Why? Because we can't answer them today. If the system falls apart today, who's going to be in charge of it? It won't be the Fed. It won't be Klaus Schwab. It won't be Dick Allgire's people. It will be the people of the United States. We get to decide. There'll be no more trading with Canada or Mexico or anywhere else in the country. Every country is going to put their troops on their borders and say, shit, we got to start fresh. If you own mining stocks where they have mines in different countries or even mines in the U.S., oh my God. They ask the same question in the Road to Ruda Teacher's Guide. Should mines be nationalized? That's the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston asking that question. We don't know the answer. Clearly, Mexico is not going to give U.S. holders of mining shares anything from Mexico. Why do you think Trump said Mexico is going to pay for the wall? Because they want to keep people out. Mexico will be the richest country in the world because they got all the silver. And they deserve it because their silver has been stolen for so long. Anyway, I'm going on and on and on. I'm going to do this in 2 parts. We're going to cut right here and go to the second part of the Road to Ruda starting now.